So welcome, Hajar. It's really nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Real life in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam. It's almost like it's impossible, but we are here, and it's a pleasure to talk to you face to face about your series that you entered for the Foam Talent, titled Atlanta Made Us Famous. You portrayed dancers in Magic City, in a strip club in Atlanta, quite a famous one, while you were still in art school in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So how does an art school student from the Netherlands end up in an Atlanta strip club for her series?
It started during my studies. I was photographing artists a lot. Also, some of them were from Atlanta. At one of the concerts of a producer, I met Cam Kirk, who is a famous photographer in Atlanta. He's a hip-hop photographer and does music videos. So when I met him, I told him I knew about his work and I liked it. And then from there, we stayed in contact. He got my info. And then 1 year later, we had to do an internship, and idea of doing it at his studio came in my mind. So I hit him up and he was like, yeah, you can do it. And his studio happened to be across Magic City. So I was like, this is interesting. Even though I had never had backstage passes or I didn't even know the artist, but I just asked. That's what got me backstage in 2018. And in 19, I just returned and so showed them the pics I took last year. And then they were like, yeah, you can come some afternoons. And sometimes I didn't even take photos. It was more talking. Because you can't just take photos all the time without thinking. Like, you have to think in your mind, like, what do you want to capture? What story do you want to tell? Like.
And if you look at the images that you made of these women, you chose to portray them backstage or like with their child, nursing their child, or resting, or their hair being done, but always quite intimate, quite, unperformative. Why did you choose to focus on that sort of backstage aspect and omit the sort of on-stage presence of the women, shining and performing?
With my series, I really wanted to capture the calm behind the calm before the storm. You see them prepare there. Even though if you've never seen it in real life, you always have an image of the club vibes, the dancers vibe on stage. And I really wanted to experience it myself and see what I would create in these calm moment. And it helped as well that I was a girl. Like it wasn't weird that I was there. I didn't always have my camera in my hand. I had conversations about normal things like school. Like some of them also study photography, so I really tried connecting through these ways.
And when you were thinking about, what kind of story you wanted to tell about these women, did you involve them in that? Did you talk to them? Did they have agency? Did they say, I want to be portrayed in this manner? Or how did the shoot sort of evolve?
They definitely had agency about the poses they did, the way they their energy is in the photo. Like, that's all them. I just sometimes just ask for a bit neutral, but the rest is all them. And it was definitely listening, like hearing conversations. Like sometimes a famous rapper would come not on stage but be in the club, and then one of the girls was like, I want to take a photo with him, and the other one was like, no, they come here for us, like we're the stars here, not those rappers. So that also gave me the inspiration for the name Atlanta Made Us Famous. Like, they're the stars of the city. Like, when the rappers go home in Atlanta, they come there to rest. They don't really perform there aside from some club shows, but the girls, perform there. So that's what I've really witnessed.
These women that perform in Magic City, they have quite a lot of power or a big say, right? In who makes it and who doesn't in the hip hop scene.
They have those nights where an artist can come in, and like even if I was an artist, I could pay them money to perform there, and they see how the girls react, and if the women react, if they dance, then the audience is gonna react. If the women are just sitting around, then we, like the audience, aren't gonna react to the music positively. So that was really interesting to see. Sometimes songs would be cut off. It's like you test your music out in the club. If it's played, if it's liked in the club, then you can take it to the radio, from radio to the whole state, from state to the whole country, and then from there it can be a worldwide hit.
Right. So a hit kind of starts, with the approval of these dancers in Magic City.
Like strip clubs in Atlanta are very like a medium point there. So that's interesting to see as well.
You said something about, how the hip hop culture really develops in this Magic City, in this strip club. Could you say something about, for one, your own relation to the genre, to the hip hop genre? Because you have had a longer sort of interest, right, in hip hop. Could you talk a bit about that history?
I've always been a fan of hip hop artists when I was a young age, from my generation, because you have a generation before, like Lil Kim, Tupac, Biggie, but that was one generation before me, I think, or two, I don't know. But then my generation was Nicki Minaj, and she used to collaborate with a lot of Atlanta artists, and that's really sparked my interest.
As a photographer, I can imagine you encounter some obstacles if you want to photograph in a strip club, backstage, with your camera. Was your camera your sort of entry point, or was it also an obstacle to interact with these women?
Say you're at a concert, there's no reason for me to be backstage if it's not my camera or to take photos.
There's such intimate portraits of also can be a vulnerable subject, right? I mean, there's a lot of stigma surrounding strippers. So I can imagine that maybe you've had some bad responses or some hesitance to pose for you.
Like in Atlanta, this world is normal. It's like it's part of the culture. But when you take it to the Netherlands or Europe, it's very different. Even at my school, the response from my teachers was very different than I had expected, because I thought they were like, in the Netherlands, people are pretty open about the sexuality. And even though I'm a pretty private person, but like I just know the culture here. Like you can go to a museum and see like fully naked people, but they didn't really see my photos as art, which hurt. I don't know what made my teachers think that, but they had a problem with my photos. They were like, this is too over-sexualized. And I didn't think it was. It was just a very confident manner of photographing these women. And they took agency of what they wear and their poses and of the image.
What made you want to enter your portfolio?
Because I always, even before I studied photography, I always used to go to FOAM, and I was aware of those FOAM talents. When I was studying photography, I always liked getting these magazines and get really inspired by these artists. So I could really visualize myself one day in one of these magazines. So that really inspired me to do the call last year.
Yeah, we're very happy you did. Thanks for your conversation and your openness. Congrats again on a beautiful portfolio. And you said you were going to move to the States.
Hopefully.
To continue working on your photography. So good luck if
Thank
that
you.
happens. And thanks again.